We watched Oblivion last night on, I guess it was sort of Nish's recommendation. Andrea was watching the latest Emily and Nish, and I forget the guy's name, but we watched Oblivion and it was pretty trippy. I don't like Tom Cruise as an actor. I like Morgan Freeman okay, but Tom Cruise is mostly just annoying to me. But as far as dystopian, sort of technocratic movies, multi-layered, multi-dimensional possibilities within the narrative, the plot, this movie, they didn't even call it a movie when they describe it. I think we rented it on Amazon.com. And when they described the movie, it is a movie. They called it this event. Didn't even call it a movie. So I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that. If you want to watch it, then go ahead and watch it. Rent it for $4 on Amazon. But it's relevant. It's very relevant to our situation. I find it helpful when I'm navigating to remember that everything has been done already. And it may not be easy to comprehend that this is even possible, but you just can look at the fact that time itself is more of like calling a telephone number. Like your current space-time location is the equivalent of calling a telephone number and dialing into a certain location, a certain fixed by time and XY axis. So if you can entertain the possibility that everything has already happened to some extent, when you remove the confining aspect of time, then you can see that when events are appearing to happen around you, and you probably also notice that here events are more so appearing to happen than actually happening. And also, another important aspect is that when events do happen, especially big ones, it doesn't clear anything up. Like 9/11 happening didn't clear anything up. Everyone is still just as confused about what actually happened on 9/11 now, 21 years later, or 20 years later. Just as confused now as they were before. Right? 20 years of the ability to dig and look and introspect has not helped. Has not helped clarify matters at all. The official story is still dog shit, and everything else that has come out since then in terms of hypothesizing still has not cleared up the situation. And that's like the biggest thing that we can remember here in this realm. Actually happening, cameras on everything, multiple angles, And then, you can look into any of it. You can look into any of the wars. You can look into what Hitler was doing during the Holocaust. You can look into corporations, corporate structure, how businesses come about, how they proliferate. And to get a clear read on any specific situation is not easy. It's not easy. So that being said, I'm not just saying that so everybody can be like, well, we can never know anything, ever. Although that is true as well, to some extent. I'm saying that because the idea that the water is going to be cleared, that the muddy water will be cleared and clarified, or that, disclosure, people being brought to justice, entities, beings being brought to justice. This idea, this sort of hopeful, like feel-good idea, that's not how it works very often, if ever. It's not how it works. So if you can imagine, right? Imagine that any one of those scenarios happens that people have been thinking about, such as, a third of the population getting taken out by the safe and effective hedge against the latest thing that has hit the screen, right? If that actually happened, you would think, oh, well, this is going to clarify everything. Now all of the regular people are going to have to say, well, the thing that was injected was not something to help, it was something to hurt. And you would think, oh, it's all going to come out, and now all the cabals are going to be exposed, and the power players who've been hiding behind the curtain are going to have to come out now. And no, not necessarily. That's not necessarily what has to happen. Because if you've noticed, these people who are pulling strings and setting events in motion have been doing this the entire time. And the amount of sort of atrocities that have happened, or appear to have happened, is mind-boggling. And there's not a lot of clarity around any of it. There's not a lot of justice around any of it. So something being blatant and loud and in your face is not like a prerequisite for the truth coming out. It just isn't. The way I think about it is, since everything has happened already, and we're sort of recreating from, if you can imagine, everything that has ever happened, ever, has been stored onto some sort of flash drive in terms of images. And say every feeling state has been stored in some way, shape, or form, every smell. And you just have this library of pieces, like reality pieces that you can put together, that someone somehow can put together. And we move through this reality putting a whole bunch of those. It's like we reach into the box of everything that has ever happened, and we pull out slides, sound slides, visual slides, image slides, feeling slides, and we just make a composite as we go. We're pulling from that thing as we go. And all of the horrifying things that have ever happened, as far as I am aware, so that we don't replay endlessly all of the atrocities, our reality cycles through the sort of imagery of it. So, like, for instance, AI in general, right? There are, I'm sure, realities where AI was fully weaponized. Just like, imagine how chess goes between AI and humans, right? Every single game is lost. It's nearly impossible for the top players to even secure a draw with the computer. So, in many realities or many iterations, the AI was actually fully weaponized, and, you know, organic life just disappears. Just like in that movie Oblivion. It's either taken out, killed, or assimilated, to where there isn't any more what you would call the creative spark, which the hallmark of which is unpredictability. And if you imagine fully weaponized AI that is strictly trying to control the movement of all matter, its main enemy is unpredictability. And that is what humans are. They're unpredictable. The machine wants to make us all into predictable, bite-sized chunks. So there are realities where the weaponized AI has fully taken over, and there isn't any what you would call organic life, except for possibly something that's being used as a battery source, which is a theme that's replayed over and over and over in all of these dystopian movies, that the humans are used as some sort of energy source. So this is a bit of a ramble. I don't have any super concise point in this one, but I just wanted to talk about a few of the thoughts that have been floating around in my head after watching Oblivion. Partially why I make these things is to provide a little bit of sort of fodder, like creative fodder, for people to peek around the edge of their sort of mental boxing in that they've done. And everybody does it, myself included. Everybody creates these mental boxes for safety or for security, for peace of mind, for efficiency's sake. They create these boxes, and our mental boxes are incredibly powerful. And we all know some people who lived strictly from those mental boxes, and they never ever peek around the edge. And so that's partially why I make these, is to help add to your stack of boxes that you like to be in. Alright, I'm gonna take off now. Peace out.